stories could do. What can a story mean to someone? What are stories for? So I was exploring the very art of fiction in my first book. So each book has explored a different pattern. So Life of Pi, my background is completely secular. I'm from Quebec, it's a very secular province. So I grew up with no gods in my house at all. And in fact, quite an anti-clerical household. Very typical. My parents are very typical of their generation, not liking religion at all, seeing only the negative side of it. And so they replaced religion with art, literature, visual arts, music, cinema. And I grew up happily in that. And at one point I became interested in the phenomenon of religion. I sort of benignly was sort of curious about what does it mean to have faith. Because it's very unreasonable, of course, to have faith. And we tend to be, especially in Canada, especially in Quebec, very secular society, to be very reasonable. Reason is very empowering. So I was curious about religion. So I decided to write a novel featuring a character who has faith. Just as I was intrigued by that. So he was writing Life of Pi was my way to look at the phenomenon of religion. And my subsequent novel, Beatrice and Virgil, was looking at the Holocaust. I was interested in looking at what can the imagination do with the Holocaust. So to me, he was my way of understanding something for myself. And I was lucky in that I managed to get them published. And it still amazes me that people want to read my stuff. I remain eternally grateful because you think of Life of Pi. Quebec, as I said, is a strongly secular society. And here I am writing a novel which posits that faith is not just pure nonsense, but is actually a serious thing. And I sort of ignore all the horrible things about religion, the patriarchy, the sexism, the homophobia. I wasn't there to explore that.
Right.
I explored, why are some people, why was Gandhi full of faith? Why was Martin Luther King? And it's also a novel in which I defend zoos. And most people think zoos are horrible cages for animals, and every animal would love to escape. So here I was taking on two what I thought was very unpopular subjects and putting them in one book. But I just felt I wanted to deal with that.
Yeah. I mean, in a strange way, your Life of Pi actually has all the elements of mythology. It's religion, animals. And just a few more ingredients and you've got it. And I think I recall you saying at one point that, and this reminds me of a character in P.J. Wodehouse called Smith. I don't know if you know the character Smith. He always says, never confuse the impossible with the improbable. And there's something of that in the Life of Pi. Do you want to say something about it?
Well, that's because of India, this mixture of mythology and religion, and that's me as India. And thank God I wrote Life of Pi in large part because I was in India. It was my second time there. The first time I was there, I was backpacking for 6 months. I was dazzled by the country. And I decided a few years later to go back. And that's when I started writing Life of Pi. And thank God I was in India, right in Switzerland. Which is not quite a place full of myths and feeling bankers perhaps or something. Thank God I was in India. And because India's like that.
Well, the title could have stayed the same because pi is still 2.14 or something.
3.14, but everything around there.
Yeah.
So it really was India actually that brought this. Not that the novel is about India. It starts in India, and the character is Indian, of course. The practice of religions that one finds in India. But for me, it was definitely that there's an imaginative charge to India, which is why Indian literature has been, read around the world for the last several decades. Because it is a place where storytelling comes so easily, I think. There are so many stories in India.